Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser on a Friday morning. It is time to be reckless. There's a lot of headlines to get to that we can be extremely reckless about, and who better to get reckless with Anand, who's making an appearance on a Friday morning. What's happening?
Making my return. Oh, I was gonna say making my way down. I don't know why I thought about that. Yeah, it's good to be back. And it's a good day to be back too. A lot has happened in the last 24 hours, and I feel like we're
Yes.
gonna have a good show.
Yes, we all thought you were busy in the South American tour taking on Hong Kong and the Asian All Stars. So we thought you were busy, but debunked because you showed up today. They're by
after
the
that,
way, they are winning now, so that everybody
after
can
that loss to the Malaysian side, I decided I'm back. I'm better off podcasting.
this was more your calling. It's 3-1 now. They killed Hong Kong. You know what? They're back. They're coming back.
That's
Good
it.
heavens.
Back on their
For
perch.
Hong
They are winning preseason friendlies. Now they're gonna talk about how this is their year, and then the season starts. They finish 16th, and they say, "Well, that was the plan anyway. We were focused on Europe, but also lose that too." I mean, what a team!
Yeah, that whole thing is so much comedy. The boys were talking about it last night on the podcast. I caught like the first part of the podcast, and they were talking about it. It's just such a shit show, but it's a fun shit show to kind of watch from far away. But
Isn't it
we
weird
got
that all
our
Manchester
own stuff.
United managers tend to have issues with players? Now Amorim is having issues with Garnacho and calling him out publicly. Eric Ten Hag did it before him, and like what? I don't know what happens when you get to that club, but there's like some sort of gas floating around that as soon as you step foot into that building, you start hating your own players and talking shit about them publicly.
And I get the parts where obviously there's like a bad culture, and whoever comes in has to kind of battle that, and is going to make some enemies and stuff. But I don't understand how it was Garnacho and Rashford in the beginning. Whatever Garnacho did made him breakfast in bed or something. He got in good graces again, and he came back, and I guess that was kind of like a temporary fix because I mean he basically made a statement after the Europa final, pretty much saying he wants out. That's a statement saying I want out. Like I want to coach's version of I want to get fired sent by a player kind of a deal. And
Right.
yeah, I mean it's fun to watch, so you got to give him that. Okay, let's
Yeah.
get to stuff that's confirmed and all that. So, first off, let's start with things that actually are pretty official. I think it's the announcement. I didn't see anything yet in terms of the official announcements because it does say announcement today, but I don't know what time of today that would be. But either way, it's a done deal. I don't know if we talked about this with you. There was some heated discussion on his merits and all that kind of stuff on Discord, but where are you at with the Frimpong ordeal?
I mean, it's a good signing. You look at last year when Leverkusen were winning the league, everybody was talking about he's one of the best right backs in the world. We do have, especially in our fan base, I realize that sometimes we just like to kill each other's hype. Like, woohoo, we're getting this guy, Frimpong. Trash. What did I ever do to you? He sucks. He can't defend. Trent couldn't either, and here we are. So no, I'm overall I'm happy with the signing. Last year, I was looking at my messages with my brother, and I told him, by the end of this season, by the end of next season, which was this season, you guys are going to sign the best right back in the world. He's going to leave Liverpool because I just knew Trent was gone. And he goes, honestly, I wish we would sign Frimpong. I think he's a better right back. And I like how that worked out because now we signed him. I'm happy with it. The club acted quickly. They moved on fast. And that was just a way also to let Trent know, like, the world doesn't stop here. We move on, you move on. So overall, I'm happy. I think it's a big signing. People are saying, well, he doesn't defend as much or we're worried about him defensively. Exact same people that were like, dude, Trent, man, best right back in the world, man.
Yeah,
So I'm not
exactly.
worried.
I think when you're one of our own, we kind of like forgive some things. And look, I think you are going to lose some things, but you're going to gain some things with this guy. You're not going to have the same passing. But I mean, that goes for a lot of players. And
Right.
if Trent had any better work rates for all those people that I fought for years against him going into midfields, I would be probably agreeing with. But he has zero defensive awareness, and he's not that good to be a number 10. So you kind of have to utilize him in a certain way, which Slot did. I think this, Frimpong coming in, he might not have the passing and the range. Not a lot of players do, mind you, of like Trent, but he will have a ridiculous top pace that you're going to get now. A better engine of going up and down that wing. And if the Kerkez deal happens, you're going to have kind of like some symmetry in that sense in terms of going up and down. How we will play is a different ordeal. But I'm going back to, and I've been saying this for a while now, where if Slot adjusted how we play to get the most out of Trent, I feel like he will have a plan to get the most out of Frimpong as well, because I mean there are so many pluses to take advantage of, and you're always going to have players with some weaknesses. I don't know if his defensive weakness. I've always talked about Trent in terms of defensive weakness is awareness, not only getting beat by wingers, but awareness, like the give and go and just falling asleep. Those are things that you can't just like afford to have back there.
Yeah, well, the other thing, Trent tends to always fall asleep in set pieces. He just forgets where he is. He just stops moving, or he loses his marker and doesn't follow. He's like, yeah, somebody else will get him, So I think that was always an issue. We overlooked it a lot because he's Trent, he's the Scouser in the team and all these things. But now with him being gone, I said this a couple of months ago. Best of luck to him. He's accomplished everything he could in this club. It's time for a new challenge. Not mad at him at all, but it's time to move on. It's time to realize, okay, he wasn't that good of a defender. So when people are like, oh, but Frimpong is not that good of a defender. First of all, you haven't seen Bayer Leverkusen play, so you don't know that. You read that on Twitter. And two, and most importantly, it's not like we're going from an actual Cafu, who is a great right back as a defender, to downgrading to a guy that only moves forward. That's not the case. We're moving from a fantastic passer who is great at going forward with no defensive awareness to a very pacey right wing who is great at going forward. And we can't judge his defensive awareness because we haven't seen him play for us. What if the system he plays for under Slot makes him a better defender? What if it's because it relies on your midfield and it relies on your center back covering you? What if that gets better for him? We don't know that. But the people that are talking about, oh yeah, he's a bad defender, I'm scared. Just wait. Just let him play a game for the club.
I mean, these are the same people that didn't somehow have a problem. I agree with like Nick over here because I think that's going to be a big difference. I've always said this about Gomez in terms of sometimes you can't teach speed, as they say. Like sometimes, like even if your positioning is not right, he has speed to kind of recover. Trent, to be fair, did not have that speed to recover, and even if he did, he didn't have the will to use that speed. How many times have you seen Trent getting beat and kind of like jogging back to say, see if they bail me out of this one, let's see how this one goes and stuff. So that I think is a big difference there where Frimpong has the pace. We'll see if he has the will. I haven't watched enough of him to say he will, but I think it's a good statement from the club to kind of like get the replacement, like you're saying, very bright and early, like we move on. But at the same time, I do expect some changes. Like Kenny says, Alberto Moreno regenerate. No, I don't think so. Not even close. Because Moreno was just a winger, but probably he should have been a winger, but he had to be a wing back because he wasn't good enough to be a winger. If that makes sense.
Gary Neville.
Something difference with Frimpong.
Yeah, you know what Carragher said that wing backs are failed wingers. Who couldn't be a midfielder and couldn't be a defender. So like, yeah, fuck it, I'll play on the outside. That's Alberto Moreno, but still gave us the greatest highlight ever. Manchester United, bye bye. So you know what? I love the guy. Get out.
I think the wing back, like the right back thing, like we were talking about. Yeah, I mean, a wing back basically has the speeds. Is like the biggest and has more attacking, but like can beat people 1v1 a lot more. So that's like the biggest thing. And I think that's not a bad quality to have as long as you're not suffering too much defensively. I think, remember, that's probably the most common theme there that, we will drop somebody back or they will have to play it in a way where it's balanced somehow where, if you see Kerkez go, you stay, you see Frimpong go, you stay, whatever it will be. I mean, you're going to have to, that's Slot's job to kind of like figure out. And I really think, based on experience, right? We've seen this team under Klopp and we've seen this team on their slot, pretty much the same exact team because Chiesa never showed up and played. But so you could kind of see how we utilize certain people differently and got the most out of
Yeah.
them. So I do have
Yeah.
faith when we bring somebody in to, like for Slot to be able to use them in the best way possible and kind of like try to offset the negatives because you're
Yeah.
gonna have every player is gonna have some kind of a weakness you're gonna have to kind of compensate
Right.
for.
And when it comes, especially when people bring up Kerkez, oh, he's only good at go. Oh man, he's so good at going up. I'm scared because he can't defend. Oh my God, Bournemouth only conceded 4 more goals this season than Liverpool in the
Yeah.
league, and it's not like he's got Van Dijk and Konate back there. I know he has Dean Hussein back there, but it's not like
He's
they
Turkish
had.
now. He's like,
Yeah, yeah, but it's
oh,
not
he's
like
saying
it's it's not like they were conceded 87 goals because of the left flank, right? It's actually a lot of their goals conceded came from the right side. And again, I'm not trying to defend Kerkez because we haven't gotten there yet, but it's just people like, oh my God, yeah, Kerkez is so fast, he goes up, but he doesn't recover. That's not true. That's not true. And a lot of his assists from him moving all the way from the back, playing the ball and making that comeback. So I would put a hold on the thought of, oh my God, we're gonna struggle defensively because both of our right back and left back are offensive minded. Put a hold on that. Watch the team play and then make that decision. Because, you know, Leverkusen didn't concede as many goals and they had Frimpong on the right wing. Bournemouth didn't concede that many more goals than us. I believe 4 or 5 goal difference than Liverpool, and they had
wait,
Kerkez
wait.
on
You
the
said
left.
four. Now you're backing out. So I'm
No,
assuming
no,
you
I'm trying to remember 4 or 5.
don't. well,
4 or 5.
give or take 10 goals.
17 plus minus, you know.
uh, they conceded 5 more goals. They conceded 46 to our 41, which honestly is pretty low towards that side of the table.
Or
Aside
a
from Everton,
Bournemouth.
who only conceded 44. But here's another thing. I bet you there are a lot of good left backs who can push forward that we never hear of because the system does not allow them to, or the system does not want them to, and stuff like that. So when you see a guy constantly bombing, I don't think when Robertson came over, anybody said, "Oh, this is going to be great. He's going to just bomb up and down
Right,
the left hand side."
right.
So it's a matter of like sometimes the player is a product of the system, but sometimes the system is designed to take advantage of the players' like strengths too. So we'll see how it's used when all this clicks. EPL better watch out. Hold on. We're gonna get the worst over there. Let's start with this
Who is
over
Wirtz?
here.
I don't know who that
So
is.
you kind of like already mentioned it that you had no ill feelings and stuff like that, which puts you in a slight average minority. I don't know when you look at the comments we get on our socials and stuff like that, and that's
Yeah,
uh poll we did on YouTube, it seems
yeah.
pretty even 45-55 or something like that. So I was going to ask you if the 10 million eases the pain or the anger, but you said you have no anger, which is
Well,
shocking coming from you. But
I know, but look at it this way. Just look at it this way. Um, 10 million for a guy leaving on a free, it's huge, right? That just essentially means we got Frimpong for 25 million. That's one way to
correct.
look at it,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
But 10 million for a guy leaving on a free that we know had no effort of renewing his contract to get the club money, that's huge. That just tells you how desperately Madrid wanted him, how Liverpool were like, wait a minute, you're giving us money to take the guy that's free? Go ahead, take him. He was quick with it, changing his bio. Everybody's like, oh my God, he unfollowed Liverpool. He didn't. He still follows Liverpool on Instagram, Twitter. If you look at his Twitter history, he never followed Liverpool Football Club on Twitter, so he never unfollowed them. But people looked, and he's not following Liverpool. And it's breaking news. Trent Alexander-Arnold unfollows Liverpool on Twitter. Then you look at the Twitter Time Machine app, and he never followed the club. So, like, we got to chill out. We
And
got
I,
the
I
10
also
million.
don't see like Trent's being like, what's new at Liverpool and pulling up his
Yeah,
Instagram to get his
right.
update. So,
Like, it's here's what happened. We got 10 million for a guy leaving on a free. Not a very common thing to happen. And we don't got to pay the rest of his salary up until the end of the
like
month.
3 days? Like,
Yeah, the 3 days. Well, it's probably one paycheck. But remember, I always say this: it's not my money. It doesn't stress me out. But that we got 10 million, and that 10 million went to Frimpong. Okay, why not? So why is anybody upset? This is a guy
I
that
never
wanted out.
understand this, by the way. It's not my money concept. I don't understand. It's never our money, but we understand that every single financial thing
Yes.
that happens affects the long term. Like it's never our money.
Yes.
I didn't pay for Nunez either. You probably
Yes.
freaking would have, but I didn't pay for Nunez either.
I
But
would throw $20 on that.
but at the end of the day, we realize it's almost like over here in the American sports, it's almost like wasting a number one draft
Right.
pick. Yeah, we didn't
But
pick him,
right.
but at the
But
same time,
now
it affects what the club can do long term.
let me ask you this. Nunez leaves for 65 or 75. Did we
Mhm.
get our money's worth out of him for 3 years?
Did we get our money's worth out of him?
Yeah. If he leaves for 75, we bought him for 85. Did we get our money's worth out of him? The goals he scored, the important ones, the last minute equalizers, the last minute winners, the this and that. Did we get our money's worth? And then
If
only
Anam played the number of minutes that Nunez did, wouldn't you you'd be offside less, I would think, because you wouldn't be running up there like an idiot.
it's usually my nose
I
that
would
puts me
say,
on side.
you know what? Nick says no.
That is incorrect. And this is just I'm just gonna go. I'm just, I'm just I'm just gonna talk about this in a business aspect, okay? Just as a business person, business aspect. Let's look at it this way. I bought a car for 100 million, okay? I drove the car for 3 years and then I sold it for 90 million. The car depreciated way more than 10 million, but I still got 90 million out of it.
Okay. First of all,
So,
that is a
so
horrible
so
analogy. First
absolutely
of all,
perfect
he's not
analogy.
depreciating like a car when you drive him off the lot. And secondly,
Oh,
it's not just like you're picking up a ride.
it
Like
doesn't matter. We
anybody,
used him. We
yeah,
we got
that's
our
a hard
money's worth.
analogy.
We
Than
got
that.
our money's worth out of the usage on him, and then we're selling him for only 10 million less than what we bought him for. That's a steal. When you
Okay,
look
let
at
me
it
ask
that
you
way,
this.
that's a steal.
See, I'm not buying that theory because you could have bought somebody for, let's say, 15, 20 million, a promising guy that had no, wasn't seen as one of the top forwards in Europe at the time. He could have probably given you the same output, and you could have probably sold him for more now because he played at Liverpool. Whereas this guy literally lost value at Liverpool, even though he's a Liverpool player now, he's actually lost value. Whereas if you got somebody that's like 22, 23 years old, let's say from the Dutch league for 15, 20 million and came over here, even if he had this kind of an output, you would actually make money off of him and sell him for 30 because he is now a Liverpool player and a Premier League player. That's why I'm saying no as well. My answer was so good, you froze. I think that says it all. I think I win this one. So the car is no longer working. So while he figures out that camera thing and why he froze on us, but yeah, I mean, too many easy misses. It's very, very frustrating to watch. It's very, very frustrating to watch. How much he's offside and all that. It's just yeah, 10 million damages for grief and suffering. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that's gonna be a no on that one. Sorzi's saying yes. Dude, my answer was so good. Your camera just fried. Couldn't just keep
Dude,
up.
I think the answer was so bad, my camera depreciated in price. It said, "I'm done working. Give me 10 million." I don't know what the heck happened. It just said that there's a recording error and I got booted. But Serzi agreed with me. Hold on.
Exactly. That's just it all right there.
That's a bad take. It must be a really bad take. I changed. I am going to the opposite of what I said.
Oh man. Okay. So 10 million. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah, getting 10 for Trent is better than 0, but it does not change anything for me in terms of how he's gone about this, how I will view him moving forwards 5 years from now, 10 years now from now. That 10 million doesn't change anything at all for me in terms of I mean, it's not our money. So we're getting, I guess, 10 more million. What you're saying makes sense in terms of lowers the cost of Frimpong.
Oh man, you just set yourself up really good. We got him for free. He was an academy player, and we sold him for 10 million.
Don't even. That's another one that I. Oh my! Just get all the crappy cliches out of the way over here.
Yeah,
But
he's a free youngster that we got for free, and then we sold him for 10 million. The club has profited a lot of money. and they made
Yeah,
a
that's the only way that makes sense when you say it
and
in that accent and
yes,
everything like
they
that.
got millions and millions of
It's a
dollars.
horrible, horrible economy, like economy
Did you
state.
and
So
then
it makes sense.
Real Madrid put a $1 billion release clause on him. That blew my mind.
It's not your money. Why do you care? Just pay
No,
the
no,
bill.
it blew my mind. Like, who do they think he is? Have they not seen him play? They're like, hey, Carlos, hey, $1 billion, see. Like, have they not seen it? Have they not seen the guy play?
Yeah, like because don't you have to pay based on that? I don't know if it's taxes or whatever you have to pay because you're showing an asset. Like you can't just be like billion, gazillion dollars to get this guy. There's a reason why they're set at 40, 50, 60, because based on what you set it as, it's almost like, you're valuing your house, let's say. So you're paying like a
Yeah,
certain
I
amount
wonder if they
based
gotta
off of
pay
that.
something on that. Yeah, but like, but with Trent, when they realize he's a shit defender, would like his capital gains go down? Like what's gonna happen there? 8 games in, and they'll be like, hey, senor, no good, no, take off the release clause.
We missed your shitty accents, that's for sure. I am not buying this at all, by the way,
Oh no,
anymore.
it's
I'm
insane.
not. I was sold on this. I was even sold on this from Nick, but you and Nick would get along great because, yeah,
Nick
no,
is
this guy is
in
just
like
not good enough.
in 2 more minutes. Nick is gonna like add like 17 more excuses. I like Nick. Nick, hit me up, brother. Add me on Facebook, social media. You're gonna be my best friend. I need
No,
more excuses, buddy. Keep going. Keep going.
I'm not buying that because we were like, oh, it's mental, it's in his head and stuff like that. Then he would have a great game. He would score like that Newcastle game, Bradford. He would have these games that you were like, okay, now he's gonna turn around the corner. He's gonna have confidence, and it's like, walk, walk, walk. It's the same thing again
No,
because he's offside again. He makes the
I
wrong
think
runs, makes the wrong decision making. I do
I think
agree that. I mean, the worst thing that happened for him is probably coming along with Holland and coming at that price tag. If he comes in at like 20, 30, I don't think it's as big of a deal. He was going to be constant. So
correct.
I'm sure there is that pressure. But at the end of the day, regardless of the pressure, I just don't think he's good enough. He has the physical attributes, the pace, the strength, and stuff like that. He just is not good enough to be a Premier
Yeah,
League striker. Maybe in a team like that guy's like just comes up to the Premier League or something like that. If we played against them, when we played against Benfica, he would be a guy that's pain in our ass, right? God, he's a handful, like he's so fast, blah blah blah. But I don't think he's meant to play against like a low block and all that kind of stuff. Just does not have the skill set.
yeah. I think he's still young. He's still got a bright future ahead of him. I still think he's gonna be one of the best when he reaches that peak level. Um, but it just didn't work out. And I'm going to add one more excuse to Nick. It's the man bun that it was too tight, so he couldn't focus. So, but
Yeah, I think he will do well in another league. I just don't think this is
I
for
still think he
core.
does great at Atletico. I still heavily believe he's a Simeone type of guy. I just see the vision, man, and
Likes
I
the
hope
guy
it
who's
happens.
offside, or like what is it?
No, Simeone likes the bigger bodies that are just gonna, be more physical, more ridiculous. He's okay with you if you're offside as long as you score a couple of goals and hit a couple of people, and that's just Nunez for you. So I think it would work out.
Ooh, this is a good question over here. I don't know about Hoyland, man. I really feel bad for that kid personally, because like he's in a shit situation. I don't even know. Like Hoyland might be here and do at least as good as Nunez, I think, personally.
You
It's just a
can't
shit situation.
you just can't grade a player based on playing for Manchester United. We learned that because
Yeah.
Anthony leaves and he's listed to win the Ballon d'Or. It's just you can't really judge a player based on playing for United, and I'm fully on board with that. Anybody that goes there turns into shit. So Cunha's going there. He's gonna end up in Saudi in a year. They're talking about who else was going
And
to United.
Buemo is linked. Delap said nope.
Buemo, yeah. I think the lap
Oh, by
signed
the
for
way, for
Chelsea.
our live audience who has been, and there's some of them on there right now. I see them in the audience. Delap is gone, so you guys can stop that crappy rumor and wish list because he's going to Chelsea.
Thank God. Okay, I am so done
Yes.
with the lap rumor. So
Damn, where
you know
were
who
you
would
all?
be?
Where were you all my life? I've been fighting this Delap battle for like two
Yeah.
weeks.
You know who would be good at Liverpool? Who? Delap. Yeah. So was Ricky Lambert. Yeah.
Ooh, Delap or Nunez?
Nunez.
I mean, you were gonna say that by default. To be honest with you, I don't know why I asked you.
No, Nunez. The skill, the talent,
Okay, here's the
everything is
thing.
there.
I'm gonna say Delap because he's cheaper.
Okay, if money wasn't a debate, though, it's not your money.
Yeah, that's a tough one. At least the lab speaks English. So one
Yeah,
of Nick's excuses is out there. And no Mamba. So two excuses automatically eliminated.
you don't know
Yeah,
nothing
John
about
is
his
going
mental
to use
health, though.
that. John, Kenny, we had like a huge thing on
I actually can't
Wednesday.
believe people wanted us to look into Delap. Like I genuinely can't believe that was a conversation. Genuinely can't believe that was a
I think it
conversation.
looked like a good deal. You know what I mean? Like, you go into your like furniture store, the shit that you probably can't sell, you put in the front at 40% off. They're
Yeah.
like, that's not a bad set for 14.99. You're like,
Yeah,
yeah, the
but
one behind it is a much better one for only 100
right.
bucks.
Yeah, but like it's not like but see Liverpool didn't even entertain it. So how good of a deal could it have been? They were like, "You all right? No." Richards and Edwards were like, "Yeah, just look the other way, brother. Just look the other way." Yeah, I'm just no. I just didn't buy it. Uh when you play for a team that's getting relegated, you're going to stand out even if you score one goal because it's a team that's getting relegated and they're just not good. You stand out, like a sore thumb, but it's not like he's any good. Like I said, Ricky Lambert stood out at Southampton and we signed him. So it means absolutely nothing. Charlie Adam was the greatest set piece taker because he took two set pieces for Sunderland or whatever, for Southampton. And everyone's like, then we know what happened. So, no, we got to recency bias is a problem in sports. They see one kid go and score 5 goals, we got to sign him at Liverpool. They see, one guy score a free kick, best set piece taker in the world. You know what I mean? So there's recency bias, and that's what happened with Delap. That's what happened with a lot of things, including, including Trent. Everybody was, oh, bro, when he played for us, greatest defender. I don't know why people say he sucks at defending just because he's a Liverpool player and recently we've been winning. But they overlook the facts. But when you look at the facts,
Yeah.
Delap is not good enough to play for Liverpool. And I guarantee you,
Preach.
bookmark it.
I fought that battle for the last 3 years, for God's sake.
Bookmark it now. He's going to flop at Chelsea. It's not going to work out. It's going to be like a Ross Barkley situation where, and Danny Drinkwater, where they're
Okay,
like,
let
oh,
me
he
ask you
plays
this.
so
Do you
well for
think is
Leicester.
that because it's Chelsea or is that because it's the lab?
It's both. And I
Okay.
say that in this sense. Chelsea's got so much going on, but also Chelsea is a big club in the Premier League now, and Delap isn't built for that. He's just not. So
Yeah.
it's just not
I
going to
agree.
work out. And nothing against the kid, by the way. I really like him. He's a really nice guy. I saw his interviews. I saw him with the fans. Really nice guy. Just not built for a big club. He's going to go back, to a smaller club like a Bournemouth, Brentford, one of those, and it's going to work out. But at Chelsea, a year or 2 years, flop, go out on loan. It's over.
Trevor says, I don't think Liverpool needs to be shopping off the clearance rack. Honestly, like, if we had signed, I don't know, like Ekatike or somebody, like you signed somebody like a striker, right? And then you were like, oh, we got Delapis' backup for 30 because we're selling Jota for like 35 or something like that. I'd be like, oh, that's good business. And I would probably be on board with that, but I just would not want to have him penciled in as like the striker going into a season. I guess
Right.
that's where I'm at with that.
And if we're, we didn't get what we wanted out of Nunez, we need to sign somebody that's going to give us what we want. We're not going to go for Delap. We're going to go for the knockout punch. Get that striker that gets the job done.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. I mean, and we'll talk about this. So we'll get to this now, I guess, because this is probably the deal over here. So the second offer, this looks like it's almost like better and improved offer. That's a lot of money. I can already hear FSG out people getting the pitchforks out of the closets and hitting the road saying like we spent too much and stuff. I guess the only thing that scares me whenever somebody is this expensive is a Nunez situation. Like, are they going to have the pressure of that? I have a bit more confidence in this kid just because of his upbringing, number one, and his experience so far, number two. He has been in some high pressure situations. Is that a lot? Where are you at with Wirtz? Are you going to try to change your hair to fit Wirtz? That's usually our gauge of
Yeah.
how big you are on the transfer.
Yeah.
So
I like him. I think he's very good. I think everybody's been looking at him since last year when Bayer won that, when Leverkusen won that league. Standout player, young, and he's a full package. And yes, the price tag is high, but again, I know you hate this. It's not my money. I don't give a shit. But second and most importantly, in today's market, is that too high? In today's market, is that too high?
in a
We got
world where Delap is 30.
right in a world. Yeah, like is that too high? I've seen stupider signings for more money. We were gonna pay 120 for Caicedo, by the way, and I got nothing against Caicedo, good player, but we were gonna pay a lot more money for other players. So why not go out for one of the best players in the world right now?
Yeah.
Why not? When was the last time we signed one of the best players in the world? Hasn't happened in quite some time. And
Yeah.
it's time for us to go out there and make that, I know that it's cliche, that marquee signing, that big name signing. And I'm actually happy. And now I know FSG people are confused as fuck. They're like, FSG out, we're not signing players. And now they're like, FSG out, their players are too expensive. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I love it. I love all of this. I love everything happening. And I like what FSG is doing. Win the league. They gave the two top players, Van Dijk and Salah, a promise that the team will be strengthened. We talked about this a month or two ago, and they're following through with their promise. Right back, left back, playmaker, potentially a striker. This team is rebuilding not for next year, for the next 5 years. Because look at the average age of everybody being signed,
Yeah.
23 years old. This is huge for the club, and I think 120 is a lot of money, yes. But one, you're not paying it. Two, you're signing one of the best players in the world right now. We can be in a debate where we can say we have the best player in the world. We have one of the best players in the world. And we have a beautiful midfield now. Now McAllister can have that freedom. Now Szoboszlai can have a rest. Now there's a lot there's a
That's why I
lot
think you would have to
happening.
change your hair because
Yeah,
there's
there's a
no
lot
point in
happening
looking
in
like
the
a
club.
Rothai anymore.
We'll see. I have a good
You know,
feeling
no,
about
no, no.
this.
We'll talk about that a little bit, but I do want to address this. Preto Emperor says one of the reasons why this deal takes quite long this week is that his father's. I still understand why people hire family as agents, but it's a whole different story. Ask Trent. That he wants to make sure. I think yeah. That the thing is, I mean, from what it sounds like though, is his deal is done. Like the Liverpool Wirtz part is done. That's already
Yeah.
set. So we've done that part. The part that's taking long is Liverpool, Leverkusen more than anything else. Because obviously Leverkusen wants to get the most out of the deal. They already sold us Frimpong, and they're also like already have started like spending the money, trying to get Flecken over there and stuff like that. So it's just a matter of like doing the add-on clause. Probably
Yeah.
there's something like that
Yeah.
in there, the bonuses and all that kind of stuff, which is fine.
Sounds
In that
like
they can take their time with that. Somebody in the audience, I can't remember who it was yesterday, was saying on the Thursday night audience, I can't remember now, but I thought that was a good point too. That maybe they are just waiting till the Adidas thing kicks in, so these guys are signing with the Adidas jersey as opposed to the jersey that's about to go away, or just like a standard issue warm up
which
or something like that.
which won't work. Which won't work. The Adidas deal doesn't start till August. It was a very
Oh, I thought
badly
it was June
negotiated
1st.
deal. No, no, no. Badly negotiated deal, as far as I read. Badly negotiated deal, and it doesn't kick in till August. So the new players will have two photo shoots, one with Nike, one with Adidas. I actually read that through one of Paul Joyce's responses. Somebody replied to him,
Okay.
and he liked it. And the person was like, "So is that
Well,
you
there you go.
confirming?"
That debunks that
Um,
theory. I thought that was a good point because I
yeah,
thought it was June as well. So they were waiting on that. And I know I actually thought it would be earlier this week, but obviously what happened at the end of the parade and stuff like that, I don't think it was the city had other
yeah,
things to worry about and deal with than like announcing like a signing and stuff like that. And
right.
I mean, I hate to say it in that sense, but you want to get the most buck for your most bang for your
Yeah,
buck.
no,
So
I
they're going to
think
announce it at a time that's like convenient, that really it catches the headline and stuff.
no, it seems that Frimpong obviously done. It seems like the personal terms with Florian are complete and done, and now it's just a matter of clubs agreeing. And it's not even Leverkusen, it's Liverpool. It's Richard Hughes trying to get the lowest deal possible,
Which is,
and which is the right thing to do. I mean, not my
it is
money,
his
but save
money.
some.
It is his money. Yeah. So he's like,
Right?
it's
Yeah,
my money. Yeah.
yeah. So save as much as you can. I really thought Elliot was going to be a part of the deal. It doesn't look like it. But I'm sure we'll talk about that eventually. But again, 120, 130 for one of the best players in the world with add-ons. Sign me up. Take all their money and get it going. Next season ahead is going to be a beautiful season.
Yeah, so okay, let's talk about that. A little bit of like future telling over here. And if you're watching us live right now, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for all the comments hopping on. I always forget to say this, but now that I remember this, I'll say it. But hit that thumbs up. It definitely helps the channel a lot because some soul who does not get exposed to this tragedy gets to see it on their YouTube feeds, and that's how we gain new people. Is usually word of mouth, and obviously your thumbs up and likes and stuff like that. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe thing. And there's a notification bell there. Don't hit anything else like the thumbs down or something like that. But apart from that, we should be all good. So,
And
Wirtz,
and
with
if you
your
have a coffee shop and you're watching, I need coffee, Habibi. There's nothing here. Okay, go ahead.
that's something that like Matush would do to his butlers on the Monday show. They're like, I need coffee here. Like, um, let me ask you this. Do you think with all this money being spent on this guy, and he's definitely worth it, even though it's not our money. He's definitely worth it, I think, in terms of because he's 22. I
Yes.
think he's already won like Bundesliga Player of the Year twice or something like that.
Yes.
And but let me ask you this because I asked the boys on Monday this too. Based on what we've done so far, Frimpong, Kerkez looks very, very likely, unless like we're really trying to lowball Bournemouth. We're like, well, I thought it was going to be like 5-10 million or something like that, which I'm
Yeah.
not seeing it. They know what the value is going to be, and if they want the player, I think it's going to happen. Do you think he is coming as a false nine or something like that, almost going to play a striker because you're spending this much money on this guy? Are you going to go out and spend? I know there were like Ekitike rumors and stuff like that early on in the week. Do they spend another huge? Because those guys are going to be going for like 60 to 90, like these top strikers that the
Yeah.
names are being mentioned,
Yeah.
if not 100. Do you think they spend to get another striker, or is this guy coming in as like a little Bobby?
It's the false hope in me that says a striker to come in. I forgot his name from Sporting. Uh, Goodness me. The Sporting Lisbon top goal scorer, the Swedish guy, the big guy,
Who? Say it again.
the guy from Sporting plays in Portugal, top goal scorer.
Kerkez or whatever. Yes, I know you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah. So that's my prayer. I know it's not gonna happen, but I'm being positive. Um, I think he's coming in as a
Why,
playmaker,
by the
man.
way,
I don't
over the
think
other ones? Let me answer that real quick because you name names. So like, why over the other guys? I just wondered that. This is
I
more.
think he's the best young pure striker in the world right now. I think he's just a
Do you
natural goal
worry
scorer.
that he might be another Nunez? That's why I'm asking.
That the thing is, I worry everybody's gonna be another Nunez now because I'm traumatized as fuck. Like I don't know anymore. Um, but he's pure, very pure, natural player, clear cut. Nunez was like running with the ball, dribbling. This guy's a fox in the box. Ibrahimovic, give me the ball, I'll score. But I don't know. I don't think we'll sign him. I wish we could, but I don't think we will. But I don't think Wirtz will ever play in that false nine. I know a lot of people's like, oh, he's coming from Germany. He's coming from Germany. He's a playmaker. He's gonna be a false nine like Firmino. I don't see it. I think they're gonna use him where he belongs. Hear me out here. We might next season see an experiment of Mo playing that striker position. Mo playing that more fluid up front position. I have a feeling about this because if you see Leverkusen, Florian a lot of the time floats to the right. What if we use him on the right and Mo ends up playing up front? And I'm not saying like a full game thing or a full lineup thing, but I'm saying that could be one of the experiments we see where we see him on the right and we see Mo up front. Not necessarily a fact, just an opinion and a kind of a vision because I saw a lot of Leverkusen games last year when they were undefeated in hopes they lose because I'm a hate watcher. And he would always float to the right. And I like, okay, good player, could play that playmaker position, but also likes to drift off to the right and cut in. So that could be something we see. Again, this is not a fact, so nobody be like, oh, who the fuck is this guy? Just an opinion / something I saw him do that I'd like to see him do for Liverpool. And Mo, he might take that number 9 role, like we saw him twice last year, just kind of drift off over there. Maybe that becomes something he does full time if that experiment works. Who knows? These are all just opinions. Could we go back to that false 9 idea? Maybe we saw Diaz do it this
Okay, so you
season.
just pulled the Mateo show me. You said a little bit of both. So you just said I don't see the number 9, and then you just said I can see us doing the number 9. So do you think
No, no,
he'll
no,
do
no.
the number 9 or no?
Not him. I'm saying when I say I'll see us doing the number 9, as in Mo going there.
Oh,
Not
Mo
us.
being the
Not
false 9, you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah. Not him. Not Floria. No, 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 no. I don't
Oh, okay,
see
okay,
him
okay.
doing that. No, no. I think
The
he
only
comes
thing
in
I
as a
don't like about that, and I don't know, I mean, obviously it's gonna be more on like what Mo wants, or like obviously Slaughter Mo. Mo can get his way, sounds like. Would he want that? Because as he's aging more, does he want to constantly battle physically? Because I don't think people understand how physically taxing that false 9 position can be. Because yeah, you're dropping back,
but
but
I
you're
don't. I
also
wouldn't see
acting as
Mo.
the big 9 at times, fighting the center backs.
But I don't see Mo as a false 9. I see him as a 9.
Yes, I just don't know because I mean, here's your thing. I mean, it's not like he's good in the air, and you're kind of
Yeah.
losing his. I'm not saying it's not going to happen or anything like that. I think it's a good theory. I just wouldn't want to see it, or I don't see it working. It might, because I think you lose first of all the width that he gives you,
Right.
and then you lose the creativity that he gives you from far away, because now he's in between two center backs buried, and it's not like he's good in the air, so he's not a
Right.
target in the box. That's why if he's a 9, he would be a false 9 at best, is the way I look at it. But I agree actually with Kenny over here that we might do what we did against City, almost play with 4 midfielders and have 2 basically 8/10s, I guess in that case, more than 9 and
Yeah.
10s. But have your boy Soboslai still out there with Wirtz running around and kind of like roaming more freely. It's a lot harder to defend when you have those 2 guys can pop up anywhere, and you also still have to worry about Mo and Diaz, or Mo and Gakpo and stuff like that if Diaz is not here.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Gakpo is rumored, but I kind of take that as. Are you putting any credit to those stories with Gakpo and Bayern, or is that Bayern more like, oh yeah, well we can screw up the waters where you're at too, and just piss in the water and saying like, we're
It kind of
chasing
feels that
Gakpo.
way, doesn't it? It kind of
Yeah,
feels like, oh yeah,
that's how I
oh
took it
yeah,
as.
watch this. It kind of
Yeah,
feels that way. But I have a feeling the Gakpo leaves this summer anyway. Bad feeling.
why?
I just don't think he is gonna be in the future plans, especially if Diaz stays, because I just don't think we're gonna rotate again the way we did this season. And I think Gakpo wants that starting role. He's at that age of his career. He wants to be a starter, and he wants to cement his place in the club and his national team. So I think Gakpo is off this season. He could end up at Bayern Munich. You never know, but I think he leaves anyway.
And who would you rather keep?
Isn't that the tough debate? I would keep Diaz because he was arguably one of our best players towards the second half of the season last year.
The only
Well, not
thing with
last
that,
season.
not that I don't agree, I feel like Diaz, especially by John on Wednesdays, gets a lot of crap, but you have to also bear in mind that Diaz is 28. And what is Gakpo, like 24?
24, 25. Yeah, he's younger.
I like how your numbers are always like rounded.
Right.
4 goals, 5 goals, 24, 25. He's actually 26.
Old,
So
retire now. No, I'm just
it's not a
kidding.
huge difference. I honestly did think he was around like 23, 24, and there was a bigger
Yeah,
gap
no,
in terms of age to
I just
consider.
think we saw more. We saw more from Diaz than we did from Gakpo. Even though when the season started, Gakpo was special. Then the injury, and then he came back, and was he playing too soon? Don't know what it is, but Gakpo is one of 2 things: either have a really good game or a really shit game. Basically, I
Yes.
always say this about Gakpo: you either know he's playing, or you're like, wait, was he playing?
Yeah.
There isn't
And you
like,
normally know
oh,
within 5 minutes which Gakpo you're
yeah.
getting.
And it's not like he has a game where he's like, you know what, 7. No, it's 5 or 9. Like there's
Yeah.
no in between. With Diaz, you're getting 10 or 0. It's the same thing. But when Diaz is
I think with
active,
the work rates, you're getting more. With Diaz,
exactly.
you're
That's what
getting a
I'm
6
saying.
or a 7.
That's why I'm saying when Diaz is active, he's a horse. He's a workhorse. Like he gives you everything you need. He's a horse work. He gives you everything you're looking for. He can go up front. He can finish. He can dribble. He's improved. A lot of people were complaining about his dribbling compared to the first season. I saw a lot of improvements in that in the second half of the season. I really do believe the father's kidnapping and all that stuff really did fuck him up last year. I genuinely believe it now because we saw a completely different person now. And what I love about him, the Barcelona links did not get in his head. What did he say? I'd like to stay at this club as long as I can. Come on, man. What South American player has ever said that?
Yeah, but
when
doesn't mean like,
Barcelona
I think is
came
he
knocking.
hasn't. His dad is the one constantly
Well, yeah,
trying
but
to
that's
get
why
his
he.
family out of the shit.
Trust me, Diaz has people. He'll get his shit kidnapped again. I'm not too worried about him. He's like, "Oh yeah, Papa, watch what happens to you today."
That's
So
probably
I'm
what
not.
happened
I'm not.
last time. I told you to
Yeah.
shut up. Like,
So I wouldn't be like I'm not. I'm not concerned about his dad at all. Now here's the thing: it does say if a good offer of 80 million plus comes in, Liverpool would listen. Would you listen? 80 million come in for Diaz?
yeah, especially because you have Gakpo.
Yeah. Not my money. I don't care. No, I'm kidding. I think if a good
This is what
amount
I
of
love,
money
by the
comes
way,
in.
because just like you just did, people who say, "Is that our money?" that ask like questions based on the money. Like, would you sell them for 50? Would you sell it for 65? So when it's outgoing, it's not our money, but it's when it's incoming, it becomes our
When
money.
it's incoming, it's not my money either. The way I see incoming money, I see it as floating money that can go buy the next guy, like the
Okay,
10 million
that's
for
the same
Trent.
with outgoing money, Anan. If it doesn't go
No,
there, it can go
no,
somewhere else.
no, that's
I don't
not
even
true.
know how you run a business.
That's not true. I'm closing 7 stores next week, going out of business. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, it's not true. I see if it's an asset that we hold now and we get money for it, we're trading it and we're letting that money float for the next guy. But if we're paying it, it's coming out of John's pocket. Like, all right, fellas. You know, that's that's how I see it. So no,
If you're like in the live audience right now, apart from hitting the thumbs up, if you're taking anything from the show today, just don't take any of the business tips that's coming
no,
your way.
I do have a business course. If you want to sign up, it's $7 and it's my money. No, I mean your money.
How
But
it
yeah, I
doesn't
think
matter if it's outgoing. Read it in my new book. We still need a new striker, says Nick, and I think so. I think so as well. I just worry that when you spend 130, it's either going to be somebody that's it's kind of low key, where we're going to be like, who or where, and then have to Google them and find them on YouTube and stuff like that. I do like the Ekitika videos that was pushed on me, but still have not watched the verse videos. By the way, I'm fighting the feeling until it's official. But I did see a couple of Ekitika things. I saw his stats though. His conversion rate is brutal, but I have
horrible.
to say his interplay looks very impressive.
Yeah,
Or maybe because I'm comparing it to Nunez, who doesn't have interplay.
he's a bad finisher, straight up.
And that's yeah. Well, I think we've
Straight up.
already had our dose of that.
Exactly, exactly. I don't know. I saw somebody write in the group. This is shades of Thuram, and it's a bad signing. I do want to say Thuram's been one of the best players in Italy this year, and the best players in Europe.
I think
And
he was talking about the midfielder Turam, where we were linked for a
oh,
while.
the brother, not the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
striker. I thought we were comparing striker for striker.
I
Okay.
think he mentioned
Uh,
the other one because we never were linked with the other
yeah,
Turam. So
yeah. No, but I saw his numbers, conversion rate, horrible.
yes.
Saw videos. They only show you him putting the goal in the net. They don't show anything before there.
Well, that's
They
the
didn't
problem.
show.
I mean, I've always said with the YouTube videos, I can pop one out over there that will make me look pretty
Listen,
good.
listen. We signed Usama Saidi, right? And we saw YouTube videos, and we're like, "Holy shit, this is the next Maradona right here." And then he played for Liverpool, and I was like, "Where's the guy in the videos? Was that an actor?
I
Was
like
that a
the
stunt
edit
double?"
where like the player makes a move and gets past somebody, and then you can see him passing, and it just cuts. I'm like, yeah, that was not a good pass.
Yeah. And then when he passes him, there's like an effect of like lights happening and thunder, and then it rains, and then he gets past, and in the video, guys are like, "What happens next?" So I go look at the full thing, and he loses the ball, and I'm like, "Motherfucker!"
I'll take
Love those
anyone.
videos.
Yes, the Jonathan David thing. Can somebody sign him so this
Is
rumor
that the
goes away as
Canadian?
well? Yes. I didn't know you
There's
were
no
looking at the
way.
passports. It's not my passport.
There's no way we're linked to Jonathan David.
We're not linked. Everybody is
Oh, thank
thinking
you, God. Now it's my money and I'm not spending it.
I think because he's on a free. So
Yeah,
everybody
no.
is like looking at him as a deal. But when somebody is on a free for this long, I always worry that there's a reason behind that. I'm not big on the Jonathan David's concept either, personally.
I can't believe that even came up. I'm done. I'm leaving.
Trust me, Jonathan David and Delap are all over the place. And again, I think it's basically based on the price. It's funny because I don't think, look, I didn't expect the worst thing to happen. throw it out here right now. The people were asking me a couple of weeks ago on a Wednesday show or something. I was like, "Ah, it's not gonna happen. He's gonna go to Bayern because we're used to that." And I never saw us. I mean, I'll ask you if I told you like a month or two ago that Liverpool might go and sign Wirtz, but they probably will have to spend 120, 130. You would probably laugh it off and say, "We're never doing that."
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. That's what I mean. I
Absolutely.
mean, I feel like that's why it came out of nowhere. And I think Bickler was saying this on Monday night a few weeks ago, and I agree to that. I don't even know if the club would expect, him to choose us over Bayern.
Right.
And when it did happen, you're like, oh shit, wait, I think we did get him. So
Correct.
now changing plans because now you're kind of like, I know it's their money that they're spending and sending a lot that way. I really do think it might alter some of the other plans, or it might really depend on how much we get for Kelleher, Nunez, and all these guys that we are looking to see who we can go after. I don't see it happening in this first transfer window, I guess.
Yeah, don't. We'll see. But I mean, I just looked at a list of free agents since we're doing that. Let's sign Leroy Sané, Lionel Messi, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Ronaldo, and Alexander Lacazette. They're all free. If
God
that's
damn,
what
how
we're
old
doing.
it's like a retirement house there. Because
Yeah,
Lacazette is up there
which
too,
is
isn't
which
he?
is crazy because Calvert-Lewin is 28. I would think that's prime, right? Like, what the hell? What's he doing?
Prime
How
what?
is
Prime
he,
time to be injured. That dude is always injured.
yeah, prime
I
time to
think there
be
were
injured and
rumors
wear a
for him
skirt.
to go to United. He doesn't want to go to the middle, I guess, Nick. I mean, that's the thing. And that's why
Yeah.
you saw Diaz go into the middle because the Gakpo thing that, yeah,
Gakpo did a whole
Marmoush
interview.
a good
Gakpo did a
goal.
whole interview saying he hates playing in the middle. He did a
Yes,
whole interview. I am a left winger. Stop playing. He literally did a whole interview.
yes.
Yes, we did miss out on Marmoush, by the way, and it's unfortunate because he expected Liverpool to come in for him.
Despite
We,
all the reporting you did over here from
yeah,
several Arab sources
yeah.
showing
No,
us videos of like
he was
some
expecting Liverpool to come in for him, and it was not. It just had to happen, and we didn't. And I still find that I still think that's a big mistake. I think Marmoush is going to be next year's Premier League Player of the Season.
fun fact, by the way. I did not know this. I think one reason we didn't go after him is he's at Frankfurt. That's why I'm kind of like not hot on the Ikitika rumors either, because I did not know that this is a thing that I was reading like an interview that the Frankfurt general manager did. They never have release clauses on their players, like ever.
Oh,
Like none of their players have release clauses. So you have to negotiate with the club. So it's odd that they can't sign players because people would be like, yeah, well, what if? So they do it, but that's why they got so much for Marmoush and kind of held City hostage. And I can see like Liverpool, Edwards, and Hughes, that gang not wanting to be in that situation. That's
yeah.
why the ticket thing does not sound very realistic because I guess none of their players. I think somebody was saying in one of the shows that he doesn't have a release clause. And then I
That's
read
unique.
more to see, and then I read an interview where the guy says, "Yeah, we don't put release clause on any players because that gives club the power." Makes sense, but you would think if you're a player who's picking between clubs, you wouldn't want to go. If you're seeing it as a step, you wouldn't want to go somewhere where you can be stopped from leaving.
Yeah, that's very unique. That is
Yeah,
very. I
so
did not
that's
know that.
fun fact for your fun facts of the morning, aside from
That's what we learned
wonderful
today.
tips that you get on a Friday morning over here. So Champions League final this weekend. Apparently, I'm gonna try to see if I can catch it live. We'll see what happens. Who do you have?
Ah, man. I'd like to see Inter, but I think PSG best
Why
team
would
in
you want
Europe.
to see Inter?
Football royalty, man. This is a classic.
Oh, okay,
Back in
okay,
the
okay.
day, like you want to see those clubs win instead of the money clubs. But I think PSG will win. They've been the most consistent side in Europe. They've been playing beautiful football. And then when they knocked us out, it was like, oh, you lost to the team that barely made it to the out of the group stage. Look at the way they were playing. Look at the way they were playing. This is a stupid format that rewards stupid teams, but here we are.
Yes, I
And
said it back then. I mean, there was
yeah,
literally no points in freaking like winning the whole shebang. You got
yeah.
punished for it,
We
basically. I
we
don't think they
finished
ever
fourth.
expected teams like Madrid and PSG to be in the situation that they were.
Yeah. Yeah, we should have finished fourth. We would have played Schlach, Blach, Blach, and then we would have gone all the way. But
Exactly.
but here we are. I think PSG will win. I think they'll win convincingly, and finally get their first Champions League. And Qatar can finally say they got their first Champions League, and we can move on now. And how crazy would it be if they win it without Mbappe? Because they play much better football without him there, which is a crazy, crazy deal.
Honestly, that's not a surprise at all. It's not and then look at Real. I mean, I don't think that's a surprise at all when you have a guy
Yeah.
like that. And I remember for like 2-3 years, everybody was like hashtag announce Mbappe and stuff. And I was like, Klopp would never have a guy like that. I would never want to do like that in my club either. He's a very, very difficult dude to root for personality wise and stuff. He's a great player, can do amazing things, but I don't give a damn. There are a lot of players who can do amazing things without the baggage and the ego. And
Yeah.
I know it's not our money, but with ridiculous money on top of that.
Not my money, but I would pay it for Mbappe.
You would you want Mbappe? Like, for example, we're looking for a striker over here. It's not your money. Do you want to go get Mbappe? I would never want that.
Absolutely.
Never.
I would risk the shit out of everything.
No, because you are risking not only money wise, but you're risking the entire locker room collapsing and stuff. There's a reason why that's important, and you can see it in Real.
Would you take Vinicius Jr.?
I would take him over Mbappe. Let's put it that way.
But he's got more baggage than Mbappe.
Not really. Why does he have more baggage?
He's fighting with every game. He's fighting with fans. He's making scenes. He's just causing problems for everybody.
He gets more abuse, and he kind of, like obviously.
Well, so that's the sad part. The racist abuse. I hate that shit. But I feel like fans started doing more of it because of how much he's fighting with them, and that's not an excuse. It's fucking disgusting. But I feel like it just brought like bad attention to him, and it started taking him out of his game. Notice his performances started to drop the second half of the season because he was more focused on that.
Yeah,
and
but I would
we did a documentary
for sticking up for something more honorable than his ego.
Yes,
and brand.
Correct. Like that part I respect. But I mean, on the field, like the dancing and the standing on the ball and the teasing people and like these things. Forget the racism.
Okay,
I'm talking about just like now let's look at on pitch
for that. Like my brother, like when you ask, that's why I always like interesting when we do these panel shows and stuff. Like my brother thought Firmino, who I think is the most lovable dude ever, probably one of my all-time favorite players in terms of personality and the game and stuff like that, as the most annoying. Because look at but look at Bobby's celebrations. The no-look goals that Bobby scores. Those things look cool and funny and awesome to us, but not to an outsider. I think it's the same thing with me. If you're a Real Madrid fan, him dancing over there after scoring a goal, I'm all for it. We're dancing with him. Look at how many dances Bobby has done. Look at all the no-look goals.
No, the forget the goal dancing. I'm talking about like the on-field, even when ball isn't played, the stuff he does, like how he teases people. He stands on the ball and he starts doing annoying things. Like forget the celebrations. Fucking celebrate however you want. It's your right. You just scored a goal. But like I'm talking about the other things that he does.
Like I don't know, like what, like he does Neymar like things. Like I don't.
Yes, exactly. Okay. He does Neymar like. See, Neymar annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah, so he's number one. Is he still playing? Can he retire? Because I got to give the number one.
He plays in Brazil. He's in what, Santos now, or he's back at Santos.
No, I'm not policing celebrations, man. It's the opposites. I'm like kind of like I'm like, but I think how the celebrations are viewed depends on.
Yeah,
scoring for your team or not is my point. Because, people can see that, but you do have. I mean, there's always players that you love to have on your team, but the other team hates, like a Robertson,
right?
Milner. You know what I mean? There are players that you love to have because they're on your team, but if they were playing for another team, you would hate the shit out of them.
Like Salah, everybody hates him, but he plays for us, so we love him. But like they all wish they had his 30 goals a season, right?
Exactly,
but he plays for Liverpool. Oh, he's trash. I fucking hate him, But speaking of Brazilians, I gotta say this before we end because I thought it was the funniest thing I've seen in a very long time. Carlo Ancelotti gets hired as the Brazil national team coach.
The Hendrick thing.
He's like, he doesn't play for his club. If his club manager doesn't play him, I can't play him here. You were his manager.
What? Can you imagine being Hendrick and seeing that though? You're like wait,
dude,
what?
Hendrick is like, bruh, like, come on. But I say that because I'm fully invested in Hendrick. I paid a shit ton of money for this.
I think
kid. And
I hate that
sorry,
kid.
you
Just
didn't hear
the
that.
tackle on Konate alone. He's just
Yeah.
very thinks way too highly of himself for
Oh
a
yeah.
5-year-old.
He literally compared himself to Pele. Literally,
Yeah.
personally said it. He himself, not the media. He said it.
Yeah, too early, kid. Too freaking early. I think,
But he's gonna be a huge deal. He better be a huge
you
deal.
better be because you bought
No,
that
that's
car.
my money. So
Diving, yes. Yeah,
that's
I think
another
that's
thing I'm
like
talking about.
across the board.
That's
But
another thing I'm talking about. Vinicius touch him like this. He dives, holds his leg, then his eye, then his ear, then his head, and then he pretends that his tooth is broken, and then readjusts his nose as if it broke. I'm like, dude, what the fuck just happened?
you just
Like, what are you
tripped. Like, yeah, but I think doesn't Mbappe do that?
in a nicer, more French way? Is oh my god, you know? It's just a nice.
Nah, I don't think so. Yeah, if that is not an option, but honestly, I wouldn't want to bring anybody like that to this locker room at the end of the day. The Reds have found some money. It's not our money. That's why we've been saying all morning. So that's what we're rolling
The
with.
Reds
But
have
yeah,
us some
you're ready to
money. We're
go,
still
man.
gonna
What
win
is
the
it?
league. Yeah, what the
Um,
heck?
but yeah, so you're rooting for Inter, but think PSG is going to win.
Yes, which is weird as fuck, but yes.
Yeah, no, I hear you though. I mean, I think Hakan plays for Inter, so there's a Turkish connection there. So I don't know if I kind of root for Inter. There's a thing to be said about being eliminated by champions too, but then that also means money and Qatar wins. So yeah, I'm gonna. It's gonna be
Whoa,
one of those games where I start
whoa!
watching and then 15, 20 minutes into it, I'll despise one team and root for the other.
I and Abu Bakr do not mind if Qatar wins. I am on board with them winning a Champions League.
They're not the chainsaw people though, so you're safe. You're good.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. No, I got a lot of business there. So good
Oh,
people.
okay.
I love the people of Qatar. They're amazing.
Okay, yeah. So it's business needs. It is your money. That's why you're going for it. But
That
hey,
is literally.
thanks for everybody joining us today. All the comments and everything, really do appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up, and then we will be back Monday morning, bright and early. Yeah, don't invest in Endrick, even especially if it's your money. But have an awesome weekend, everybody. Enjoy the final if you're watching it. Otherwise, enjoy the weekend and the announcements. So we'll see what happens, what becomes official. Have a great week, people. Take care.